Hi guys, good evening everyone. Today we'll discuss about a synchronization in multi-threading. In the last class we have discussed about how to get the names, how to set the names priority, and we have seen what is the difference between join, yield, and sleep method. Similarly, guys, we'll say what is meant by synchronization in Java multi-threading. Guys, synchronization, we were I have told you one thing in the Java, vector. When we were discussing about Java collections, I used to tell in the vector, each and every method present in the vector is a synchronized. Means only one thread can access. Means I have told you there, the only difference between array list and a vector is in the vector each and every method is synchronized. Means there will be a thread safety. Then we will see what is meant by that. Synchronization in Java. Guys, synchronization is a modifier. Synchronization is a modifier. It is like your public static final. Public static. Default private keyword is there. No, it is also like some keyword or modifier applicable for only methods. Applicable for only methods and blocks, but not for the classes and variables. You cannot apply synchronized keyword for classes and variables. It can be applied only for the methods and blocks. Guys, what is the importance of applying the synchronized keyword? If multiple threads are trying to operate simultaneously on same Java object, then there may be a chance of data inconsistency problem. Guys, let us say you have an object. In that object, in that object there are some methods. There are some non-static methods because object your static methods will be always stored in the class memory. Your non-static methods will be always stored in the object's memory. Let us say I have an object. In that object there is a one method. If multiple threads at a time trying to access that method, multiple threads, for example, there is a thread t1, thread t2, thread t3, multiple thread, three threads at a time wants to use that method, then in that case, we will get data inconsistency problem. To overcome that problem, what we will do is we will declare that method present in the object as synchronized. If I declare any method as a synchronized in the object, only one thread can access that method and remaining thread will act wait for their chance. Means internally what happens is for every object there will be a one lock. Okay, for every object there will be a one lock. So if I declare any method as a synchronized, whichever the thread comes first, it acquires the lock, it will access that method, and after completion of their work, it will release the lock. Then thread T2 will acquire the lock, it will use that method. After using that method, it will release the lock. Means every time a thread will come, acquires the lock of that object and access the methods present in that method object. That is how synchronization works internally. Okay, if multiple threads are trying to operate simultaneously on same Java object, then there may be a chance of data inconsistency problem. To overcome this problem, we should go for a synchronized keyword, and this process is called synchronization. Guys, if a method or a block are declared as a synchronized, then at a time only one thread is allowed to execute that method or block on given object. Why? Because whichever the thread will get the chance first, that thread will acquire the lock of that object and it will have access only on that object. Remaining threads will have to wait for their chance. Okay, see here, if method or block is declared as synchronized, then at a time only one thread is allowed to execute that method or block on a given object, so the data inconsistency problem will be resolved. Guys, the main advantage of synchronized keyword is we can resolve the data inconsistency problem, but there is a disadvantage in synchronization also. See, you should not use synchronization. If and when there is a particular requirement, then only you should use. Always, if you use a synchronized keyword, there may be a disadvantage. What is a disadvantage? Because when one thread is waiting, other threads will be when one thread is accessing that object, other threads will be waiting for the lock, right? Then it increases the waiting time of the thread. Whenever it increases the waiting time of the thread, the performance will be we will get a performance problems. See, the main disadvantage of synchronized keyword is it increases the waiting time of the thread and creates a performance problem. Okay, hence if there is no specific requirement, then it is not recommended to use a synchronized keyword. When there is a specific requirement, then only we should use a synchronized keyword. Okay, if we always declare a particular method as a synchronized every time, okay, then you're going to increase the waiting time of the threads. Whenever waiting time of the threads increases, then we will get performance problems. Internally, synchronization concept is implemented using lock. I've told you, every object has its unique lock. Okay. If thread wants to execute any synchronized method on given object, then what that thread should do? That thread should come and acquire the lock of that object, and it should execute that synchronizer method. Once method execution complete, then thread releases the lock immediately. Then other threads will come and acquire the lock. It will do its work. Then, okay, it will release the lock. That is how synchronization works internally. If I declare any method or a block as a synchronized. There is one example I have taken, okay, for your synchronization. Guys, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Guys, there is a, okay, one example for synchronization here. You can see. Guys, let us say there is a one class I have created. There is a one class I have created, public class, display class. What is the class name? Display class. Inside it, okay, I am keeping one method. I don't have any main method. I am just keeping one business logic, that method. Public synchronized void wish method. As of now, you just, okay, assume that there is no synchronizer keyword. There is no synchronizer keyword. I just have only public void wish method is there. Okay, public void wish method is there, and what is the parameter it is expecting? It is expecting string name. In the sense, when we are calling this method, we have to pass the string. Okay, now in this I have kept some logic. What is that logic? It is printing good morning. Okay, and it is sleeping. After printing good morning every time, 2000 milliseconds it is going to, okay, 2000 milliseconds it is going to sleep, and then it is printing the name which we have received here. See, the name which we have received here. See, how many times it is doing like that? 10 times. 10 times it is printing good morning. It sleeps 1000 milliseconds. After sleeping 1000 milliseconds, good morning, 2000 milliseconds, and the name. It will print the name which we are passing when we are calling this method. Okay, so this is the business logic I have kept in the display class. Guys, now create your thread. See, I have created public class my thread 11 extends thread. I am creating thread now. Guys, you come here. There is a main method. Okay, there is a main method, public static void main method. I am creating two child threads now. I am creating two child threads. See, anyhow, okay, in order to call this display method is, see, if inside the display method, there is a one non-static method present, right? What is the name of the non-static method? The name of the non-static method is wish method. Means if I want to call this non-static method, I need to create an object, right? Because this is a non-static method. I have to create an object of this class using the object reference only. Okay, using object reference only, I have to call this method. So what I will do is, I will create an object of, okay, this display class in my thread 11 class. Display d1 is equals to new display. Okay, display d1 is equals to new display. Okay, now guys, using d1, I can call this wish method, right? d1 dot wish. I can call this wish method. What I will do is, I will create a two threads. So see this, I will create a two threads. My thread t1 is equals to my thread, okay, my thread 11 t1 is equals to my thread 11. My thread 11 t2 is equals to new my thread 11. Totally, you have two threads now, t1 and t2. See guys, what I am doing here. See, in the thread, you should have a run method, right? In the thread, you should have a run method. Okay, inside the run method only, you keep the business logic. Whatever the business logic you keep, okay, inside the run method, that will be executed as a multi-threading. Okay, see, now what I will do is, when I'm, see, when I'm creating first thread, okay, my thread T1 is equals to new my thread 11. I will pass, okay, two names. I will pass two names here itself. One is string, okay, one is string, that is Rama, and whatever the object reference I have created, D1. Object reference I have created, D1. See, when I'm passing here, I have declared string name display D. I've told you yesterday, whenever you want to declare any reference variable, the type should be its class name. Yesterday I've told you, right? Whenever the, okay, in that, whenever you want to, okay, whenever you want to declare the reference variable of particular class, that the type of that reference variable should be the class name. So I have declared two variables is here, string name, display D, and I have a constructor here. My thread 11 constructor will be there. Guys, you can see my thread 11 constructor will be there. When your constructor will be called, your constructor will be called upon creation of object, right? Okay, your constructor will be called upon creation of object. Now, my thread 11 T1 is equals to new my thread. First constructor will be created, but constructor is expecting what? But constructor is expecting string name, display variable. See here, string name, display variable. Guys, string name means I am passing the string. So Rama will come and store in the variable called name. Okay. And I am passing D1. D1 will come and okay store it in the variable. I have taken the name of the variable is variable itself. You can also take display D2 if you want. Okay, or display some variable name you can take. I am taking display is a type of the reference variable. Variable is the name of the variable itself. So I am passing Rama D1. Rama will be stored where? In the name. Okay, D1 will be stored in the variable. So what I will do is, guys, I have declared string name display D, right? I will take this dot name. This keyword what your this keyword will do? This keyword always points current object's execution. Okay, what is the current object's execution? Currently, this object is executing. Now, this dot name in the sense, okay, see here, this dot name in the sense you can see a blue color. This dot name will refer to this one. Okay, this dot name will refer to this one. This dot name is equals to name means whatever the name you have received here, you are storing it in the declared variable name. Similarly, this dot d is equals to variable means the variable in the variable what is there? D1 is there that you are going to assign it to the d. Now in the name variable, okay, in the name variable Rama is there. In the d, D1 is there. In the D1 is there. Now guys, now in the run method, see in the run method, what is the job of my run method is, the job or responsibility of the run method is calling a wish method which is present in the display class. Calling the wish method present in the display class. Guys, now I am calling d dot wish. Okay, name d dot wish name means what? In D, what is stored? D1 is stored. Okay, in the D1 is stored because I've called D, I've sent D1 right here, and then wish, and in the name variable what is stored? In the name variable Rama is stored. In the name variable Rama is stored. Guys, now you don't know. Okay, thread scheduler may give a chance for either T1 or T2. If thread scheduler will give a chance for T1, if thread scheduler will give a chance for T1, then it will become D1 dot wish and the name will be Rama. Then the output I will get is good morning Rama. Okay, good morning Rama I will get. But here what I will, if thread scheduler give a chance for T2, okay, thread scheduler give a chance for T2, then it will become D2 dot wish Sita. Then it will become good morning Sita. Good morning Sita. See, when this is a non-static method, right? When I am calling this non-static method, I have to pass the string. Okay, that's why I am passing the string. And whatever the string you have received here, value you are printing also after sleeping 2000 milliseconds. Now, what is happening here is two threads. Okay, see here, two threads I am starting. T1 dot start, T2 dot start. I am starting two threads. After starting, we don't know for which thread scheduler will give a chance. Okay, thread scheduler may give a chance for either T1 sometime or T2 sometimes. Means what? T1 and T2 at a time trying to access the wish method present in the display object. Okay, what I have told, if multiple threads, you can come back and see, if multiple threads are trying to operate simultaneously on same Java object. In our case, multiple threads means T1 and T2 trying to operate simultaneously on same Java object. On same Java object in the sense display object, then there may be a chance of, okay, data inconsistency problem. Guys, if I don't declare this method as a synchronized, definitely these T1 and T2 will try to access this wish method simultaneously present in the display object. Then we will get a data inconsistency problem and we don't get a correct output. Okay, this is the problem if you don't, okay, if you don't declare a particular method as a synchronized. First we will, okay, see the output without synchronized. Okay, then we will get to know. Let's go to the my thread 11. my thread 11 and display class. You should have a display class and my thread 11. Guys, you can see here, there is a display class which we have designed. Okay. And there is a my thread 11 also. There is a my thread 11. Okay. Here, there is a complete logic. See, I did not declare, okay, I did not declare display as a synchronized. What I will do is I will, okay, just remove this synchronized. If I remove this synchronized, what happens? Multiple threads will try to access that method at a time. Then we may get a data inconsistency problem and we also don't get a correct output. Okay, you can see here, I will run this program. See guys, what in the console, 1 minute, my thread 11. Guys, in the console, you can see what I am getting. I'm getting improper output, right? One time good morning Rama, one time good morning Sita, one time good morning Rama, good morning Sita. Means what is happening is both T1 and T2 is trying to access the display object at a time. If multiple threads trying to access the same Java object at a time, we will get a data inconsistency problem. You can see here, I got improper output. Good morning Rama, good morning Sita, good morning Rama, good morning Sita. Then if I declare, okay, if I declare this method as a synchronizer, if I declare this method as a synchronizer, what happens internally is whichever the thread, okay, whichever the thread will get the chance for execution, that thread will acquire the lock of the display object. For example, T1, let us say, according to the thread scheduler, T1 will get the chance first. Then T1 will acquire the lock of the display object. Okay, after acquiring the lock, it will start execute. It will start executing the okay wish method. Until completion of a wish method, it will not release the lock. Okay, after completion of a wish method, then T1 will release the lock. Okay, then T2 will come, T2 will acquire the lock, then okay, it will okay access the wish method. Means even if we have a 10 threads accessing on the same Java object, okay, it internally uses a lock system. Okay, whichever the thread acquires the lock, okay, that thread will access that object. After completion of its work, it will release the okay lock. See, I have declared now public synchronized. Okay, I have declared a particular method as a synchronizer now. Let's go to your method 11. Okay, let's try to execute now. Run as Java application. Guys, you can see I'll get improper output. I'll get proper output, sorry. See how I'm getting now. Means in this case, I am, okay, my thread scheduler has given a chance for T2 first. Then T2 will acquire the lock. It will, okay, access that method. See, I'm passing Sita d.wish method in the sense you are calling wish method by passing Sita. We will get good morning Sita first time. After completion of a 10 times, then we will get good morning Rama. Until that, the lock will be with, okay, T1 only. Guys, this is nothing but synchronization. Is there any doubts in this? Guys, any doubts? Hope no doubts.
Hope no doubts.
Yeah.
So is that the display is a data type, or just we take the class name of a synchronizer class?
It's a class name, not a data
It's
type.
a class name, not a data type. Okay. Is that syntax?
Sorry?
Is that a syntax how we declare in a synchronization classes?
No, it's not a syntax. It's a
No,
general
it's
class.
not a syntax. It's a general class.
You can also take your own class.
You can also take your own class. So you mentioned that my thread constructor, right? My thread constructor, you mentioned display variable. So
This one,
is that
this is also
right?
this is also not syntax.
This is also not syntax. In my thread constructor, it displays string. String is a data type for the name. And what is the display variable?
Display is a class, but okay, in order to store the reference variable D1, I have to take display as a type of the variable.
Okay. So it should be always the class name.
Yes, if you want to declare any reference
Yes, if you want
variable,
to
the type
declare
should
any
be
reference
always class
variable,
name.
Okay.
Guys, any other doubts in synchronization?
So here the compiler don't know which thread to sleep, right? I mean, hello.
Which thread to sleep?
I mean, yeah. So here there are two threads, right? So here the compiler know which thread to sleep or not. I mean,
Yeah, compiler will know, because whenever we compile the program, thread scheduler will give a chance for one of the thread. Either it may give a chance for T1 or T2. If thread scheduler give a chance for T1, then okay, you're calling with a D1. Though it sleeps for 2000 milliseconds and it prints the name. Compiler will come to know.
okay. So can we specify which? I mean, the thread to. I mean, which thread we want to sleep, or I mean, is it possible?
We are specifying, right? See, if I declare a particular method as a synchronized, what happened here in the IDE, you can see what is the output you got. First, we got good morning Sita, good morning Sita, good morning Sita. After that, we got good morning Rama, right? Means what? The thread scheduler is giving a chance for T2. Means T2 is making, okay, thread T2 is making a wish method to sleep here. Okay. A thread T2 is making a wish method to sleep for 2000 milliseconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if
You
I
cannot,
want to print a good morning Rama first instead of good morning Sita?
you keep on executing, because see here in the, let me execute one more time, because you never know, okay, for which thread. For first time I've executed, thread scheduler has given a chance for Sita first. Let me execute next time. What happens? You try to execute some 3-4 times. Okay, in the middle, okay, one time you may also, thread scheduler may also give a chance for your Rama thread. You can see here.
So it randomly pick some thread and it will print, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Whichever the thread.
what if I only want? I mean, I don't want any chance. I mean, I only want Rama to be printed first instead of Sita.
You don't have any choice for that, because it is completely depending upon thread scheduler. And okay, if you want to do that, you have to use a join method. Yesterday I have told you, no?
Yes,
Join method.
And
Join method in the sense, what you can do using a join method, you can make one thread to wait until completion of another thread. Okay. You can use a join method, you can get that application.
okay. Yeah.
Hope you listened my yesterday's class using a join method, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Guys,
So
and
I
there
have
is a,
a doubt.
yeah.
Hello. So,
Yeah.
what kind of data we can display? I mean, for what kind of data we can use synchronized method or synchronized? Is there something like?
No. Synchronized keyword can be applicable for mostly methods. Okay, and blocks.
Yeah.
Blocks will rarely use it like constructors. Methods. See, whatever the business logic you want, you can keep inside the method. Okay, not only a restricted data, any kind of data or business logic you can keep inside the method, and for that method you can apply synchronized keyword.
Okay. So so there is no specific like only for creating or updating for code operations, something like that.
You can keep any data.
Okay.
Okay, for example, you have okay, updation, deletion, okay, and resetting the data, any kind of even database related data also you can keep inside that method. And whenever you want, for example, if there are multiple applications trying to access that okay, application, you can declare that particular method as a synchronized after keeping business logic.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, there is a one thing here, conclusion. when you have to use a synchronizer keyword, you should understand synchronization. See, synchronized keyword or synchronization will be used only when multiple threads trying to operate simultaneously on the same Java object. Guys, synchronization will not be used when multiple threads trying to operate on multiple Java objects. You got it? Okay. Synchronization will not be used when multiple threads trying to operate on multiple Java objects. In the same program, what I will do is, see, we have done the first one. Okay, same Java object, okay, reference we have passed. We were trying to access the, okay, two threads were trying to access on same Java objects. That's why we were getting a synchronization problem. If two threads trying to operate on two Java objects, then there is no need of a synchronization. See here. For example, I have created two display objects. Display D1 is equals to new display. Display D2 is equals to new display. In this D1 also there is a wish method. In D2 also wish method. I will create two threads, now T1 and T2. But in T1, I will pass D1. In T2, I will pass D2. Means what? T1 will go and access the method which is present in a D1. T2 will go and access, okay, which is present in the D2, which is present in the wish method present in the D2 means T1 is accessing on D1. T2 is accessing on D2 means multiple threads are accessing, okay, multiple threads are trying to operate on multiple Java objects. There is no issue. There is no need to use a synchronizer keyword here. Whenever we try to access, okay, whenever threads try to access the same Java object simultaneously. For example, in my program, I have created only D1. Both the times I am passing only D1 means what? Both T1 and T2 are trying to access the wish method present only on the D1 itself. Okay, but here D1 and D2, okay, means multiple threads are trying to access on multiple Java objects. But okay, here in the second case, there is no need of a synchronization keyword. Even if I use a synchronization keyword, there will be no use at all. Okay, see guys, even if multiple threads trying to operate on multiple objects simultaneously, we can't expect the order of output because thread scheduler may give a chance for any thread. There is no use of a synchronized keyword access, okay, modifier here. So conclusion is you have to use synchronized keyword whenever multiple threads are trying to access on same Java objects. You should not use a synchronized keyword when multiple threads are trying to access on different Java objects. Even if you use it, okay, there will be no use. We will get a improper output only. Guys, any doubts in that? Here. Guys, let us come to, okay, something called inter-thread communication in Java. Okay, inter-thread communication in Java. Guys, two threads can communicate each other is called inter-thread communication in Java. Guys, let us say you have a two threads. Okay, T1 and T2. T2 is doing some work, and T2 is T1 is doing some work, and T2 is also doing some work. My application is like T1 should wait, okay, or I'm sorry, T2 should wait until T1 performs its work. Okay, then after T1 completes its work, T2 should come and do its work. Means, for example, let us say I'm going to credit the money. There is a T1 and T2. T1 is going to credit the money. Okay, and T2 is going to withdraw the money. There are two persons. Similarly, let us say in real time there are two persons. Person one is T1. Person two is T2. What is person one is doing? Person one is just going to credit the money into the account. Okay, T2 in the sense person 2 will come and withdraw the money which is credited by person 1. Means what? First person 1 should credit the money, right? After crediting the money, then only person 2 means T2 may come and withdraw the money. Until completion of the until T1 complete until person 1 credits the money, person 2 cannot come and withdraw the money. Means person 2 should be in the wait position. Person 2 should be in a wait position. Whenever person 1 completes crediting operation, person 1 will give a notification to person T2 that I have completed, means I have credited the money successfully and you can come and withdraw the money. Means he'll give a notification. Until person 1 gives the notification, person 2 will be in the waiting state. Person 2 will be in the waiting state. Means what? Until T1 completes its work, T2 will be in the waiting position. Until what time T2 will be in the waiting position? Until T1 gives a notification. T1 completes its work and it gives a notification that it has completed work successfully, then T2 may come out of the waiting state and it can do its work. So similarly, in order to do that, we have a wait, notify all. Okay, guys, using this, you can establish the communication between two threads. See guys, if particular thread expecting a update from another thread, who is expecting the update from another thread? In our example, person 2 is expecting a update from person 1. Person 1 should credit the money. After crediting the money, he should give update for person 2. Okay, that I have completed, the crediting the money, and then you can come and withdraw. So if particular thread is expecting an update from another thread, then that thread will call the wait method. Then that thread will call the wait method. Then immediately thread will go into the wait state. Then whichever the person expecting update, guys, whichever the person is expecting update from the thread, we will call the wait method. Then immediately thread will go into the wait state. We will understand the thread which is responsible to perform updation. Guys, the thread which is responsible to perform updation, who is performing updation? Person 1. After performing updation, it is responsible to call a notify method. Means after crediting the money, he is giving a notification to person 2. Means who should give a notification? The person who is responsible to perform updation. That person should call the notify method. Then the thread which was waiting, right? Then thread will come out of the waiting thread. Then waiting thread will get the notification and it will come out from the waiting state to continue its execution. Guys, we have to, and we have to keep one point. We have to remember one point while we are using wait, notify all method. Guys, we have used yield method, sleep method, join method, right? All these methods were present in the thread class. All those were present in the thread class. So only for the threads, we used to employ it. But wait, notify all are present, not present in the thread class. All these are present. All these are present in all these are present in the object class. There is a one class, a default class in Java class called object class. The class itself is an object. Since wait, notify all are present in the object class, these can be applicable on any Java object. These can be applicable on any Java object. Any Java object, in the sense any Java object may come and use this wait, notify and notify all at a time. So in order to again avoid the data inconsistency problem, whenever we use wait, notify all, we have to keep it in a synchronized block. Synchronized block. You're getting what I am telling? Wait, notify all are present in the object class in Java. Since these three are in object class, any thread may come and access, any object may come and access this wait, notify all. So due to that, we may also get data inconsistency problem once again here also. So whenever we use wait, notify all, we have to keep it inside synchronized block, and whichever the current object is there, that current object only, use it. If I keep it in a synchronized block, you can see we have to always keep wait, notify all in synchronized block. Otherwise, we will get a compiled error. See guys, one simple program I have written to make you to understand wait, notify. Guys, if you know wait, notify all is very simple. See, notify is going to end the wait of the one thread, right? Notify is Notify is going to end the wait of a one thread. For example, only if person 2 is waiting, person 1 can give a notify for only one waiting thread. For example, there are 10 persons waiting, for person 1. Means if person 1, after completion of crediting the money, that person can give a notification for all the waiting threads. If you want to end the waiting, means if you want to give the notification for all the waiting threads, multiple waiting threads, you can use a notify all. Guys, I have used one simple program here to make you to understand how do we use a wait and notify. Guys, I have a one thread here. I have a one thread, one main thread, one child thread. I just have a two threads, guys. Public class thread A extends thread, and there is a one child thread here. This is your child thread A, and there is a main thread. Main thread starts from here, right? The responsibility of a, see guys, the responsibility of a child thread is it should count the numbers. It should count the sum of first 100 numbers. Guys, I have given one job for the child thread. What is the job for the child thread is it should count the sum of first 100 numbers. The sum of first 100 numbers. See here, in order to do that, I have declared one variable here that is non-static variable int total is equals to 0. Means after calculating the sum of first 100 numbers, the total means the sum should be stored in the total variable. I have declared int total is equals to 0 and I am performing very simple. Total is equals to total plus I. Means in total, what will be there first? 0 will be there. 0 and initial value will be 0. 0 plus 0 will be stored in 0. Again, I will be incremented. 0 plus 1 will be stored. Okay. Means 1. Means 1 will be stored here. 1 plus again it will be incremented to 1 plus 2 will be stored in the total. Similarly, it counts 100 times and finally we will get the sum of first 100 numbers will be stored in the total variable. So this is the job of this run variable. Okay, this is the job of your child thread. But in the main thread, okay, main thread responsibility is after child thread printing, okay, the sum of 100 numbers, it should just print that. It should take that output and it should print that, okay, output in the, okay, console. Means what? Your T2 means your main thread should wait, okay, until completion of the calculation, right? First, child thread should complete its calculation. What is the calculation? It should calculate the first, okay, sum of first 100 numbers. After completion of a calculation, then only your main thread can print. Until then, your main thread should wait. Your main thread should wait. Guys, you can see here, main thread starts here, right? Main thread starts here. I have simply taken system.out.println. Main thread is calling wait statement. Wait method means main thread should go to wait. Okay, wait state. Why wait state? Because first child thread should do its calculation. After doing calculation, this will give us a confirmation that it has completed calculation. Means it will notify us. Until that, it should go into the wait state. Guys, when we were using a wait method, you can see here, I have used synchronized keyword. I have used synchronized keyword. Means whenever we use a wait method, notify method or notify all method, that should be in between synchronized block. Where your synchronized block starts, you can see here, synchronized block starts here, your synchronized block ends here. Okay, and synchronized block will take the parameter of A1. What is this A1? A1 is the current object's reference. A1 is the current object's reference. Means what? Only current object is eligible to use wait method. Only current object is eligible to wait method. If I create another method, for example, thread A2 is equals to new thread A. Okay, and then if I give A2, then another object means if I give A2 here, thread A2 is a responsible, okay, will have access to use this wait method. Means now, since I am taking inside the synchronized block, since I am taking only A1, only, okay, only this object, only inside this, only A1 object is responsible to access this wait method. Okay, other objects will not have any permission to access this wait method. That's why whenever we use a wait method or notify method, you have to take it in a synchronized block. See here also I have taken synchronized block, but I have taken this keyword because A1 I cannot use it here. A1 is a local variable, okay, which I have declared only inside the main method. You cannot use a local variable outside the method, right? Local variable can be only declared inside the method and accessed only inside the method. But I can use this keyword. See, what is this keyword can be done? This keyword also points a current object's execution, right? So instead of A1, I'm making use of this keyword because in this keyword also refers a current object's execution. Means only current object can use this notify method. Guys, that is why we have to use it in a synchronized keyword. Then come back to the logic. See guys, first method, main thread calling wait method. Then main thread is entering into the wait state. Right? The moment it enters into the waiting state, now your child thread will start its calculation. It will, after starting calculation, then after printing, after calculating the sum of first 100 numbers, child thread giving a notification. When child thread is giving a notification, child thread will give a notification after completion of a calculation of a first 100 numbers. How child thread will give a notification? This will give a notification using this dot notify, because current object's execution is using this keyword, right? This dot notify. The moment child thread gives notification using this command, this dot notify, your main thread will come out of the waiting state. Means, see here, main thread got notification. I have simply written here statement to make you to understand. Main thread got the notification. Whenever main thread got the notification, it will come out of the waiting state. Then it is printing. Okay, it is printing the sum of first 100 numbers. The sum of first 100 numbers will be stored in which variable? Total variable. Total is what kind of variable? Total is a non-static variable. So if you want to access non-static variable, okay, you should access with the object reference, right? So I'm accessing with the object reference a1 dot total. Okay, let me execute this program in ID thread A. Guys, you can see main thread calling wait statement. Okay, then it goes into the waiting state. Whenever it goes into the waiting state, then my child thread starts calculation. After starting calculation, after finishing calculation, child thread is giving notification. Whenever it gets a notification, then only, okay, it is printing the first, okay, the sum of first 100 numbers. This is how you can make use of wait notify method. Notify all method is very simple, guys. See, I'm waiting, I'm ending the wait of only one thread, right? Similarly, you can create some 3-4 threads and you can, okay, end the wait of 3-4 threads at a time, but only one ending of one thread will be, the waiting of one thread will be ended, but other remaining threads will be ended, waiting will be ended according to the priority. Guys, any doubts here? Guys, no doubts? Guys, I've told you, the difference between notify and notify all methods. What is the use of notify method? You can notify only one waiting thread. What is a notify all? You can notify a multiple waiting threads. You can use notify method to give the notification for only one waiting thread. Even if multiple threads are waiting, still only one thread will be notified and remaining thread will have to wait for the notification according to the priority once again. Any thread may get notification. Okay, guys, if any thread may get notification if multiple threads are waiting. It depends on JVM. We can use notify all method to give the notification for all the waiting threads of the particular object. Even though, okay, if you use a notify all, you cannot end the wait of all the threads. Okay, the wait will be ended according to the priority there. Then there is something called deadlock in multi-threading. Guys, deadlock in multi-threading. When deadlock situation will come into the multi-threading means you should understand this. If two threads are waiting forever for each other, for example, T1 is waiting, okay, for T2. Similarly, T2 is waiting for T1 forever. Means without knowing each other, T1 is waiting for T2 and T2 is, okay, waiting for, okay, T1. Means what? Waiting of the two threads will never end. If two threads are waiting for each other forever, okay, such type of infinity waiting is called deadlock. Then your program will be stuck there itself. Okay, you cannot run the program. Synchronized keyword is the only responsible for deadlock situation. That's why, guys, see, waiting, the word waiting will come into picture whenever we use a synchronized keyword. That's why whenever we use a synchronized keyword, we have to take care. If there is no particular requirement, you should not use a synchronized. Wherever if you keep a synchronized keyword, okay, there may be a chances of, okay, the program stucking means your program will be blocked there itself. There is no resolution technique for deadlock, but there are several prevention techniques. Means prevention techniques means you have to use synchronized keyword whenever you want, whenever there is a particular requirement. And there is something called deadlock conservation. Guys, you know what is by deadlock now? Two threads are waiting forever, okay, for each other. Okay, that is called deadlock. But there is something called starvation. See, deadlock in the sense two threads are waiting forever for each other, where waiting will never end. But the starvation is two threads are waiting for each other forever, but okay, at some point the waiting will end. Okay, waiting will end by taking several prevention techniques. That is called starvation. Long waiting of the thread where wait will end at certain point is called starvation. Guys, this is all your multi-threading. Guys, any doubts? Guys, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Guys, now let's move on to our Spring framework. Guys, whatever we have discussed now till now is a core Java and advanced Java. Using core Java and advanced Java, what we can do maximum is you can do enterprise applications. You can do enterprise applications in the sense without any server client configuration. Means if I want to perform any web applications and if I want more features, okay, other than your core Java and advanced Java, and we have several frameworks called Spring and Spring framework, Spring Boot frameworks. Okay, using Spring and Spring Boot frameworks, we can easily do enterprise applications with a minimal configuration, and we can also perform a web applications easily. Okay, in order to do enterprise applications using core Java and advanced Java, we need to write a more logic, because we don't accept your advanced Java concepts. Everywhere is a okay. Everywhere business logic we have to write our own. There is no so much of frameworks okay there, and we don't have any inbuilt libraries provided by your core Java and advanced Java package itself. But in order to do enterprise applications, in order to do any enterprise applications or web applications with a minimal configuration, we have something called Spring framework in Java. Okay, Spring framework and Spring Boot framework. Even your Spring and Spring Boot framework also constructed based on your core Java and advanced Java only. Without knowing your advanced Java and core Java, okay, you cannot learn Spring framework and Spring Boot framework. Those are the fundamentals. This is easy. Spring and Spring Boot framework is easy. It's all ready made. You know, framework is nothing but we have all ready made things. If we come to the Spring framework, you are not even creating object also. Object creation also will be done automatically by the something called containers. Means with minimal configuration, you okay build your applications now. Okay, we are going to learn several important concepts like okay basic introduction, Spring core concepts, what is meant by setter and constructor injection, dependency check, okay, and auto wiring. We will learn okay one by one now. Nice introduction. Spring framework is introduced by someone called Rod Johnson. Okay, Spring framework is introduced by a person called Rod Johnson in 2003. Guys, Spring framework, okay, which helps us to build Java enterprise applications which are lightweight and loosely coupled. Lightweight and loosely coupled. You should understand I have used two words called lightweight, okay, lightweight and loosely coupled. Right, guys, lightweight in the sense whenever you build your applications, enterprise applications only using your core Java and advanced Java, those are OS dependent. Means whatever the applications, enterprise applications we build using your core Java and advanced Java, those will become okay OS dependencies. Those will have a more OS dependency, means which are completely depending upon operating system. But here you can also build enterprise applications which are okay depending upon only some jar files, only using some jar files. Okay, you can build your enterprise applications. So since we are not depending upon OS, since the applications which we design using a Spring are not dependent on OS but which are dependent only on several jar files, that's why we call it as a lightweight. Okay, the but whatever the applications you design using only in core Java and advanced Java without using any frameworks, that applications will become heavyweight. Heavyweight means the sense it will have applications will have OS dependencies. Okay, but here the applications which we design using a Spring framework are depends only on some jar files, not on OS. That's why we call it as a lightweight, loosely coupled. Guys, loosely coupled in the sense, see, if you want to design one application, you will have so many layers there. For front end, one layer will be there. For back end, there will be one layer there. Okay, for API will be there. Means several layers will be there, right? Okay, for data passing means those layers are okay. You're going to minimize the dependency between each and every layer. Means there will be minimum. Okay, at most there will be no dependency between one layer and another layer. You are completely removing the dependency between one layer and another layer. That's why we call it as a loosely coupled. For example, there is a class A, there is a class B. Say for example, if I create a object of okay, if I create an object of B in class A, or if I create an object of A in class B, say without class A, I cannot work with the class B. If you without a class B, I cannot work with the class A. then means what? A and B are tightly coupled. So in order to overcome the disadvantage, okay, and now to bring out that loosely coupled architecture, we came for a Spring framework. Guys, Spring framework is a Java platform that provides a comprehensive infrastructure support for developing Java applications. Spring handles the infrastructure so you can focus on your application. Guys, in the Spring, the beauty is you're going to focus on only your business logic. You're not going to focus on object creation or inheritance, implementing. Everything will be done by something called containers. See, focusing on business logic but not on object creation. Object creation will be done automatically by something called containers. Okay, but business, we have to focus only on business logic. That business logic we keep in some class. That class we call it as a POSOS. Okay, Spring enables you to build applications from plain old Java objects. Whatever the business logic you want, you keep it in some class. That classes we call it as a POSO class. Okay, a Spring is a dependency injection framework. Spring is a dependency injection framework. Guys, if whatever the, for example, class is depending upon some variables, that variables you can inject during runtime. Okay, that variable you can inject during runtime using a process called dependency injection. You will come to know. Okay, we will show you with examples. Spring framework is lightweight. I told no, lightweight because of its POSO implementation, and it is also not depending upon OS. It is depending only on several jar files. The Spring framework does not force the programmer to inherit any class or implement any interface. There is no concept of inheritance. There is no concept of implementing any interface. Okay, you always do everything using a dependency injection only. Spring is a loosely coupled architecture because the applications which we develop using Spring will not have any dependencies on other layers or classes. I've told you, if there are many layers, okay, you're going to eliminate the dependency between each and every layer. That's why it has become loosely coupled architecture. Springs are implemented based on runtime polymorphism and association. Guys, whatever I have told you, this lightweight, loosely coupled, okay, everything will be implemented using a two things called runtime polymorphism and association has a relationship. You have seen something called is a relationship. I've told you on that day when I was discussing about OOPS concepts. Whenever you whenever you create a child class for one parent, that will become is a relationship. But here something called has a relationship. If class contains a reference variable of another class, then that is called has a relationship. Using this has a relationship only, we are going to eliminate something called inheritance as well as implementation. Means we are going to not inherit any class. You're not going to implement any interface at all. You can do these two processes using something called has a relationship and dependency injection. Guys, now I will tell you what is my loosely coupled architecture. One simple example I have taken for loosely coupled architecture. Guys, let us consider you have a two classes. Simple, class A and class B. If I create an object of class A in class B, see guys, if I create an object of class A in class B and if I create an object of class B in class A, then both the classes will have a complete dependency on each other. And hence, class A and class B will become tightly coupled. Guys, let us say you have a class A here. You have a class A here. And let us assume there is a class B also. Let us assume there is a class B also. In class A, I have created an object of B. In class B, similarly, let us assume there is an object of A. There is an object of A. Means what? Without class A, your class B cannot be operated. Without class B, your class A cannot be operated. Means class A and class B will have a complete dependency on each other. Complete dependency each other. That's why we call class A and class B, will become tightly coupled. So this problem we will get in a core Java. Because every time, there may be a situation to create object of class A in some other class, object of class A in class C. Means what? Class A is depending upon B, depending upon A. Similarly, these two are depending upon A. Means there will be a complete dependency on between classes. So in order to eliminate that problem, we came for the Spring framework. See now, in order to eliminate the problem, in the sense we are building an application which is loosely coupled architecture. We are building we are building an application which is loosely coupled architecture. Whenever we will have a dependency, then that will become a tightly coupled architecture. See guys, in the above program, the object of class B will be created in class A. Hence, class A and class B will be tightly coupled. Hence, to overcome this problem, we use a Spring framework, and which makes use of a inversion of control, which makes use of something called inversion of control, means IOC. IOC is a containers. IOCs are containers which are responsible to create the object, and it will inject into the class A during runtime using something called dependency injection. You will come to know, guys. Now, see, in order to achieve loosely coupled architecture, I have taken another program here. See, guys, let us consider two classes again, class A and class B. To create the object of class A and class B. Now, I want to create a object of class B in class A. I see, when you create a complete object, whenever we use a new keyword, that means you are going to create an object of one object of class. See, now my application is I want to create an object of class B in A. So how I normally create? B1 is equals to new B. B1 is equals to new B. Means if I do like that, it means you are going to create a complete object of B in A. Instead of doing that, what I will do is my container will create an object. Means container will create new B. The moment you create a new B, object will be created and memory address will be generated, right? That memory address will be injected into B1. During runtime using process called dependency injection. See here, I have just declared object reference of B1, but I did not create object. Who will create object? The object will be created by someone called container. Container will perform object creation, and whose reference will be stored in your B1. Okay, see guys, how it will be. I will just make the constructor of A. Okay, I will take the constructor of A, and you know, who is going to inject this? Constructor is expecting a reference variable. See here, I have declared one reference variable. The type of the reference variable is B. You know, okay, last 2 times I have told, whenever you want to declare reference variable, the type should be class name. I am declaring one reference variable B of type class B. Now, this one dot B means what? This one dot B1 means this one is equals to this B. This B will be passed by whom? B will be passed by container. Okay, container will create an object of B, and whose memory address will be injected into this memory address will be injected into this B, and that memory address will be transferred to B1. Okay, this is known as dependency injection. Okay, this in particular I can say this is called constructor dependency injection. Similarly, you can also do setter and getter dependency injection. You can simply say setter dependency injection. See guys, now, yeah. Guys, now I am not creating an object of A in B. Who is creating an object? Who is creating an object of B in A? Container is creating an object of B, and it is injecting that memory address into B. Okay, this B, which is parameter for constructor, and that memory address will be transferred into the declared B1. Okay, means creation, injection, everything will be done by the container. Creation is nothing but container will create an object. Injecting is nothing but dependency injection. For injection, what is the parameter? What is the block you have used? Okay, you have used constructor. That's why this is called constructor dependency injection. Okay, there are 2 types of dependency injection, namely constructor dependency injection and setter dependency injection. You will understand when I am executing a programs. In the above program, see guys, the object of B will not be directly created in class A. Here, IOC containers. There are 2 types of IOC containers. You will understand. One is a bean factory, and one is a application context container. Here, IOC container will create an object of B, and it will provide the memory address of object B to the class A during runtime using constructor dependency, and this process is called inversion of control. Guys, you can observe one word, during runtime. During runtime, it is passing that memory address. That's why in the last time I have called something called here runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism. Everything construct creation of object, injecting, everything will be done using a runtime only. Means all the modifications will be done using runtime only. That's why we call it as a runtime polymorphism. Okay, guys, what are the advantages of Spring framework? Several. Okay, see several advantages we have. I have told you, Spring framework will be mainly used to build your both enterprise applications as well as a web applications with a minimal configuration. Number one. Second, Spring frameworks provides us a loosely coupled architecture. Spring frameworks also provides us a lightweight architecture, isn't it? See, other than that, we have several predefined templates. Okay, we have a predefined templates. If you want to do database operations, you have to write so much of code in Java. Okay, you have to write so much of code in Java, and you have to make use of something called JDBC, their creation of a statement object. Okay, and then establishing the a connection between Java object and then your database. Means without doing that, without making use of so much of code, you have a templates. You have ready-made templates. For example, if I want to do a database operation, I have a JDBC template. I have a JDBC template. I have a Hibernate. I have a JPA, Java Persistence API for your doing a REST applications. Okay, REST API. If you want to create a REST API, you have a JPA. Means you have all predefined templates to perform, to build your enterprise or a web applications. So there is no need to write too much code. It hides the basic steps of these technologies. Okay, see, let's take the example of JDBC template. You don't need to write the code for exception handling, creation of a connection, creating a statement, committing transaction, closing connections. Guys, for all this, you have to write a code. But when you have a Spring provides us something called JDBC template. You just need to, declare it in the XML file. So, with only 1 or 2 lines, you can connect, you can work with your database. Loosely coupling, I have told you, the Spring applications are loosely coupled because of dependency injection. Easy to test. Guys, Spring applications are easy to test. Okay, easy for unit testing because here we are constructing one application according to the layers. Each and every layer you can check whether each and every layer is working properly or not. It will be better for unit testing. Okay, the dependency injection make easier to test the application. The EJB or struts application requires server to run the application, but Spring framework does not require a server. Guys, EJB and struts are frameworks which were which was older frameworks compared to a Spring. So when we were using EJB and struts application, we compulsory server was required to even to run the enterprise applications or web applications. But here does not require any server. Only for web applications you need server. For enterprise applications there is no one. IDE is enough. Okay, lightweight. I have told you lightweight. Spring framework is lightweight because of its POSO implementation. The Spring framework does not force the programmer to inherit any class or implement any interface. That is why it is said a non-invasive. Guys, why do we inherit? Why do we perform inheritance? In order to acquire the properties of one class into another class, we perform inheritance. So if you want to implement any class into another class, we use interfaces. But if you want to acquire any properties of class or interface, we use dependency injection here. Okay, we use dependency injection here. Fast development, guys. The dependency injection feature of Spring framework and it supports various frameworks makes easy development for Java enterprise applications. Powerful abstraction, guys. It also provides several it provides a powerful abstraction to abstraction means data security. You can see abstraction and encapsulation we have used in OOPS concepts. It provides a data security to Java enterprise applications such as JMS, JDBC, JPA, JTA. We have several libraries here. Declarative supports various see, it provides a declarative supports for catching, validation, transaction formatting. For all these even features also we have ready-made templates available. Guys, now the first thing we will see is Spring core concepts. Means I am telling dependency injection, containers. Then we will try to understand what is meant by Spring container first thing. Okay, guys, Spring container. What your container will do, guys? Container will perform several activities. Container, container will create an object. Container will see the life cycle of that. Life cycle also maintains the life cycle of that object. Means what is the life cycle of object, guys? Starting from creation until destruction, there will be some life cycle for every object. That life cycle also will be taken by care by container itself. Means container will create an object, container will take the life cycle, take care of the life cycle, and container will also perform something called dependency injection. For example, if object requires some data during runtime, that data will be injected during runtime using container only. Okay, see here, a container is not a hardware, guys. Container is a predefined program or component that comes with a Spring framework. That comes with a Spring framework. Container is used for what? Creation of objects of POSO class. What your POSO class contains? Your POSO classes contains, guys, your POSO classes contains a business logic inside. So if you want to create an object of those POSO classes, we will use containers. Container is used for creating an object of POSO classes. After creation, it will hold them in the memory, and after holding it, it will also inject that object into another object. Okay, it will also inject one object into another class. Means dependency injection it will do. Means I'm telling inheritance cannot be done here. Means if you want to acquire the properties of one class into another class, we use the extends keyword. But here, container will create an object of whole class. That object reference will be injected into another class. Simply, so we are able to use the all the features of that class. Guys, container need two things. Container maintains the complete life cycle of an object from creation to destruction. Guys, for container to perform all these things, it requires two things. The first thing is the bean or Java class. Okay, guys, POSO, bean class or Java class. Okay, all the three are same. Sometimes I call POSO class, sometimes I call bean, Java bean. Java bean is same as POSO, and you can also call normal Java class. Okay, but you make a habit of calling Java bean. Java bean means every variable is declared with a private there, and we use a setters and getters method to provide a total security there. We have used in the encapsulation. In the Java encapsulation, what I have done, the data and code are binding together. I have used setters and getter methods. Hope you did not forget that. I have discussed in OOPS concepts. So if container to perform all these things, container need two inputs. The first input is Java bean or a POSO class. The second input is XML configuration. Guys, you have to provide a XML configuration. In XML configuration, you write full configuration. Means you for which class you want the object and what variables you are going to inject. If you write all the template in XML configuration, then container will read that XML configuration. It will understand that XML configuration. Then it will after reading that XML configuration, container will come to know for which class it's need to create object and what type of dependency injection it must perform and what are the variables and methods it should inject into the class. Means after reading XML file only, a container will come to understand. Means for container, you have to provide two inputs. First thing is a Java bean or POSO class. The second one is a XML configuration. Say I have given, if I give the two inputs for the container, then container will do all these activities. First, to read the web.xml, you can also call it as spring.xml. It will read the XML file. It will understand the configuration of XML file. It will create an object of POSO classes. After creating, it will manage the lifecycle of POSO classes. After managing, it will also perform dependency injection. All these are the functions performed by your container. Then guys, how many types of containers you have? Guys, containers are just, containers are software tools, not your, containers are software tools which comes with a Spring framework. It is not like, hardware and you have to install it. Okay, guys, containers, we generally call it as IOC containers, inversion of control. IOC container is responsible to initiate, configure, and assemble the objects. The IOC container gets the information from where your container will get the input from XML file, and according to the XML file, it works accordingly. The main tasks performed by IOC container are, I've given it reads the XML file, it creates the object of POSO classes, it will manage the lifecycle, and it will perform dependency injection. Guys, there are two types of containers: bean factory, application context. Bean Factory, application context. Guys, Bean Factory is an interface. Application context is an interface. If you make use of any, guys, if you make use of any container, see, you should create an object of that. So you cannot you cannot make use when it is an interface state. So what it should have an implementation class, right? For example, I have a list set. Can you use a list directly? You cannot use a list directly. You cannot create an object of list. But if you want to make use of a list, you have to create an object of its implementation classes. What are the implementation classes for list? Similarly, array list, stack, and vector is there. Similarly, Bean Factory is a container which is an interface. But to make use of this container, you have to create objects of its implementation class. What is the implementation class of Bean Factory? XML Bean Factory. XML Bean Factory is a class name, and if you want to make use of this container, you should create an object of this. Similarly, there is one more container called application context container. Okay, this is also an interface. If you want to make use of application context, there is an implementation class called class path XML application context. Class path XML application context. You should create an object of this, and you can make use of this container. Guys, when you have two containers, okay, what is the difference between these two? Guys, mostly every time we use application context container only. Bean Factory container is a old container, legacy container. Why? Because see, what are the functions of container? The first function of container is it reads the XML file and it will understand the configurations and it will create the object of POSO class, right? But while say in the Bean Factory container, okay, in Bean Factory container, we have to load the XML file. After loading XML file, we have to call one method called getBean method. After calling getBean method only, XML Bean Factory will create an object. Okay, but here just after loading, before calling getBean method only, just loading is enough here in the second one. After loading XML file, it will understand, it will create an object before calling getBean methods. Okay, but okay, see here, before calling getBean methods only, it will create objects. That's why this is early container and this is this is lazy container. Why this is lazy container? After loading, it should call a getBean method. But here, just after loading only, it will just create an object of that. There is no need of calling getBean method. See, I have told you the Bean Factory and application context containers are acts as IOC containers. IOC stands for inversion of control. Guys, the application context interface, see here, the application context interface is built on top of the Bean Factory only. First, before this application context, we had only one container called Bean Factory. Just because we had several disadvantages here, we have implemented application context container based on this itself. But we overcame several disadvantages in second one. Application context interface is built on top of the Bean Factory interface and it adds some extra functionality than Bean Factory. Bean Factory container will create an object of POSO classes after calling first getBean methods. Guys, after calling getBean methods only, your XML, your Bean Factory will create an object. That's why this is called lazy container. Why lazy container? In the sense, internally it will not come with something called load on startup configuration. It will not come with something called load on startup configuration. Okay, since your application context container will come with a load on startup configuration, just after loading, only it will create an object. There is no need to call this method called getBeans. But the application context container will create an object of POSO class while loading the XML file only. While loading itself, it will create. Okay, guys, Bean Factory is without load on startup configuration and it is known as a lazy container. Whereas application context container is with the load on startup configuration and it is known as a eager or early container. So it is better to use application context than Bean Factory. See guys, I will show you. I will make use of these two in programs. You will understand. Guys, you can see here there are two containers using Bean Factory container, using application context container. Guys, the XML Bean Factory is the implementation class. See, if you want to make use of Bean Factory, you have to create an object of XML Bean Factory, right? So here, now if I want to see guys, if I want to make use of Bean Factory container, first I should create an object of resource. object of resource. See guys, XML bean factory is the implementation class of the bean factory interface. To use the bean factory, we need to create the instance or object of XML bean factory class as given below. This before creating an object of XML bean factory, first, okay, you should take something called resource. Okay, you should create an object of resource. Okay, class. Resource is a class name. Object reference is okay, small resource. You can also take R1, R2, your wish. I have taken small resource is equals to new class path resource application context XML. Guys, see here XML first, XML file first I should load into the resource class. Then that okay resource object I have to store it into the bean factory object. Bean factory is equals to new XML bean factory. First I have first I have created class path resource object. Then I have stored XML file. That object reference resource R1 I am giving it to the XML bean factory. Means see how many steps you have to do here. The constructor of XML bean factory class receives the resource object. So we need to pass the resource object to create the object of bean factory. Guys, let us come to the second one. There is no story here. Directly you can create object, you can load it. There is no concept of resource. There is no, okay, first you should create a resource, load, and then that object reference will, you have to pass it in the, okay, original container. But here there is no concept of creating a resource or nothing like that. First, okay, first line itself creating the object of, okay, your original container. So in original container only, you're directly passing XML file. Application got the context. Here, the class path XML application context class is the implementation class of a application context interface. We need to instantiate the class path XML application context class to use the application context given below. Means there is no application context is a container. If you want to make use of that, you have to create a object of class path XML application context. Okay, then I am directly loading it. See how many disadvantages we have. First one, the first thing is it will not come with the load on startup configuration. Hence, it is lazy container. And second one, even if you want to use it, first you should create an object of class path resource. Then you should load your XML, and that object reference you have to pass it in the original container. But here there is no story. Here directly you can pass your XML file into the container, and it comes with a load on startup configuration. Even before calling your getBean methods only, while loading itself, it will create objects. This is the reason we always use application context container. Okay, guys, I will show you. Okay, I will show you how do we create one Spring project. Guys, carefully observe. I will create only once because it will have so many steps here. It will have so many steps to create your Spring project. Guys, if you want to create any Spring project like your Java project, first go to the file. Guys, go to the file, new. Okay, here you can go. Okay, see here you can go here other. Okay, you can go file, new, other. Guys, you can see something called Maven. Okay, you can see something called Maven. Okay, here there is something called Maven project. Double click on that. Okay, see, you leave your defaults as it is. Don't browse or do anything. Go to the next. Guys, select here. You can select Maven archetype quick start. Next. Guys, now you have to give group ID and artifact ID. Guys, group ID and artifact ID is like your package name, in the sense project name. Inside the project there will be a packages, right, in the Java. Similarly here also, this is like your project name and this is your package name. What I will do is com dot, you have to start with com dot spring dot. Okay, I will give example. I will just give example, and then I will give spring dot example. You can give anything. Okay, spring dot example. Guys, this is your group ID. This is the artifact ID. Click on finish. Click on finish. Guys, come to the left corner of your window. There is a project. Okay, there is a project name which you have created. Okay, there is a project name which appears you have created. That is spring dot example. You can say spring dot example. Guys, the moment you create one spring project, you can observe. Okay, there are several folders here. There is a source-main-.java. Here you are going to keep here in this only you are going to keep your source code. Okay, you are going to keep something called source code. And whenever you are doing a unit testing, whenever we perform unit testing, you can keep your testing code in the source-test-java. Okay, and then important thing, guys, there is something called Maven. Maven. Guys, remember, Maven is a build tool. Okay, a Spring framework comes with something called Maven. Maven is a build tool which downloads all the required jar files, okay, which downloads all the required jar files to perform any Spring application. See, if I don't have a Maven dependency, whenever you want to perform enterprise applications or web applications, you have to download all the jar files, okay, by yourself, and you have to keep it in the class path. You have to keep it in the class path. But now I am not downloading it anything in any Spring applications. Manually, programmer need not to download. There is a build tool. Maven is a build tool. Very important question, guys. What is meant by Maven? Maven is a build tool which transitively pulls or downloads all the required jar files to build one Spring application. You can say I have told you, that's why this is called lightly coupled. Lightly coupled means what? It depends only on jar files. It is not your Spring framework. Your Spring application is not depending upon any operating system. It depends only on several jar files. Who will download the jar files? Okay, that the jar files will be downloaded by a build tool called Maven. Maven is a build tool which transitively pulls or downloads all the required jar files, okay, to perform or to build Spring application. Guys, currently how many jar files you have here? There is a one jar file called, okay, only one jar file that is present for JUnit testing. Only one jar file which is present in JUnit testing. Why? I'll tell you why there is a one jar file present here. Guys, come down. There is a one thing called pom.xml file. Okay, very, very important thing in your pom.xml file. Guys, you can see it is opened here, pom.xml file. Guys, any Spring project you, okay, any Spring project you create, there will be one XML file called pom.xml file. This XML file contains, see, whatever the group ID you have created, whatever the artifact ID you have created, and packaging is jar, means whatever the jar files, whatever the things we need to build our Spring application, that will be downloaded in terms of a jar files. So that's why packaging is jar. And I have given my artifact ID spring.example. And okay, it will also give you, okay, a model version you can here, okay, model version of your Spring. And then guys, you can see here, in this, your jar files always contains dependencies. Jar files contains dependencies. Whichever the dependency you want to download, okay, you want to make your Maven to download, that dependency you have to configure it here. For example, 10 dependencies, if I configure in the pom.xml file, those 10 dependencies will be checked by the Maven and Maven will download. See here, there will be only one downloaded here. Only one will be downloaded here. That is called JUnit. Why? Because I have kept a dependency called JUnit here. You can see here, dependencies, tag, dependency, group ID is JUnit. Okay. And artifact ID is JUnit, version 3.8.1. And for test, scope is a test. If I keep the dependencies like this, okay, then Maven will search, okay, pom.xml file. It will understand the dependencies. Then whatever the dependencies you have declared here, that dependencies will be automatically pulled by the Maven. That's why Maven is a build tool. Maven is a build tool, okay, which transitively pulls all the dependencies required to build your Spring application. Guys, now you came to know how your Spring project will be there. See here, this is your source-main-java source code. You can keep inside this. And okay, when you're performing JUnit testing, you can keep your test code here in this package. Okay, and then whenever, okay, if you want to see what are the jar files you have downloaded, okay, there is a Maven build tool. Maven is a build tool which transitively pulls all the dependencies required to build your application. And there is a pom.xml file. Pom.xml file is very, very important because, okay, whatever you declare in the pom.xml file, based on that dependencies only, your Maven will download the dependencies, jar files. Guys, now I want to create an object now. Okay, I want to create an object of okay, one POSO class by making use of just, okay, two containers. One container is application context container. One container is a bean factory container. One container is a bean factory container. Guys, now what I will do is, see, I don't want this. I am not doing any JUnit testing. Okay, so since you are not doing any JUnit testing, you can delete this folder. Okay, you just delete this folder. Guys, now if I want to perform, if I want to create an object, now means I am not creating an object. I am making use of application context container and bean factory container. Then we will see how that, okay, container will create an object. Means if I want to create that, okay, there are several dependencies. Okay, there are several things you have to add here. Okay, there are several dependencies you have to add here. That dependencies we call it as a core context. Okay, those dependencies I have already, okay, ready made. Guys, in every project these are same. Okay, remember, in every project, okay, in every project these are same. I will go here. Okay, there are several dependencies here. POM, you can see here, I have these. See guys, the first dependency here, Spring core. The second dependency is Spring context. Okay, and for Maven to download, we have to provide the plugins. Okay, Maven plugins, Maven compiler plugin. Okay, similarly, we have several plugins here. See, Maven. Okay, see, all these you have to keep it whenever you are performing dependency injection and whenever you want to perform. Okay, whenever you are using a bean factory and application context container. Guys, these are the default dependencies. Every time you should copy and paste it. You should copy and paste it in, okay, pom.xml file whenever you are making use of dependency injection and whenever you are making use of a two containers called application context container and bean factory container. What I will do is, okay, I will just copy it. I will go to the IDE. Guys, I am not doing any JUnit testing, right? I am not doing any JUnit testing. So I will completely delete these dependencies. See, select from properties to dependencies, properties till dependencies, delete it. Okay, paste it. Now you have, okay, you have pasted your new dependencies.
Can you
Yes,
paste this POM file in the chat?
I will send this, okay, through your mails. Okay, I have complete information, okay, about your 1 minute. I have logged out of my this one. That's why I'm not able to paste here. Guys, I will send it in a file in PPT itself. You can take it, no issues. Okay, first you
I have
observe
a
here. You'll
small
come.
doubt.
Yeah.
So sorry, actually, we can also download the Spring packages from Spring.io site, right?
You can download it, but here only
Okay.
one dependency you can download it. But when you have some, okay, hundreds of dependencies when you are doing a Spring project, can you download each and everything and you can you keep it in a class path?
Okay, there will
It
be
is
an,
very
I mean, I think there will be an option to choose the dependencies which dependencies we want and which we don't want. So in that way we can access it in the easy way, right? I think. So what is
no
the
no
difference between? Yeah.
see difference in the sense, for example, let me, okay, see here, let me add this first. I have Spring core and Spring context here, right? Spring core and Spring context, okay, both are the dependencies which are used to, okay, which are used for object creation using bean factory and application context and container. And these both are also used to perform dependency injection as well. Now, do one thing, okay, you just save it. Save it. Guys, whenever you save it, you have to update. Guys, you come here. Whenever you update pom.xml file, you have to right click on pom.xml file. You go to the Maven and you should do update project. Every time you do any modification in spring.xml, in pom.xml file, you have to update it. Guys, you come here in the Maven dependencies. You can see here how many jar files it has downloaded. Inside, there is a logging, there is a AOP, beans, context, core, expression. These many things we want. See inside this, how many jar files we have and how many packages you have. Can you download all these classes packages and can you keep it in the class path if I don't have a Maven? Isn't it?
I think we can also choose Maven in the Spring.io site.
Spring.io, see, even if you choose there, you have to copy it and paste it in a class path, right? Every time. See, instead of keeping and pasting it every time here, okay, you directly create a Spring project and Maven will transitively pulls all those things. See, just for only dependency injection and then object creation, these many will be there. Then if I want to perform any setter dependency injection or constructor dependency injection, we will have so many, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, see, now I've just pasted only core and context and it has downloaded everything. Okay, all the jar files it has downloaded. And now guys, after updating your pom.xml file, you have to keep. Now I want to create an object, right? If I want to create an object, I need to create, okay, guys, app.java is a default class which will be generated here. You don't want this, you can delete it, no problem. Now you want to create one pozo class. You should create one pozo class, right? What I will do is I will create one pozo class. Okay, go to the, see guys, pozo class. Where do you create a pozo class? Source-main-dot-java. Under that there will be one package. Right click on this, go to the new, okay, and then class. Here, okay, you give your class name. For example, I'll give a class name as employee. I'll give a class name as employee. I don't take any main method here. Okay. Click on finish. Guys, you just keep one business logic inside this. What is the business logic you keep inside this is, okay, for example, I will keep one method. Okay, I will just keep one method here. That method is, okay, I will just keep that method public void. Okay, let's take, okay, method name is a wish method. Okay, and then you print one statement here, just it is saying good morning. System dot out dot println. Okay, I will just take good morning here. Guys, now in the class, there is a one wish method. See, if I want to call this wish method in Java, what I was doing, see this is a non-static method. If I want to call this non-static method, I have to create an object of employee. Means employee E1 is equals to new employee. Okay, then after creating an object of that E1 dot wish method. Okay, if I call E1 dot wish method, then I was used to get the output called good morning. Then in this case, who will create an object? Object will be created by container. But container needs the input, right? What is the container needs the input? Container needs two inputs. One is a pozo class. You have to configure this pozo class in the XML file. And also, okay, you have to always give inputs. Means in the, okay, XML file. You means what? You have to create one XML file. Guys, XML file you should load into the container. Okay, so two inputs it needs. One is a pozo class, one is a XML file. What you should write in XML file? In XML file, you have to configure, okay, about your employee, okay, about your employee class, and you have to, okay, always copy and paste a fully qualified class name. Now, pozo, see, you have updated pom.xml file and you have created one, okay, pozo class. Now, guys, I will create one pozo class. Okay, I will create one pozo class. I'm sorry, I will create XML file. Let's click on this source-main-dot-java. Go to the new, okay, other, guys, you go to the XML. You go to the XML. Okay, double click on this XML and there is an XML file there. For example, I will save this XML file as config.xml. config.xml. Click on finish. Guys, now whenever you create an XML file, there will be an empty here. Every time you have to copy and paste several, okay, web addresses here, several web addresses for dependency injection. Either sometimes you will be doing a constructor dependency injection, setter dependency injection, C schema, P schema, for all those together. Okay, every time you, okay, however default, okay, dependencies you keep in XML file, the default, okay, the default commands you can keep it in the XML file. Let's go to the, okay, let's go here. I have XML file. You go to the Spring. Okay, see guys, you copy it. This is same. I will send all these things. Okay, for you. No, don't worry. Okay, from here to here. Every time you have to keep these commands there, because sometimes you will be doing dependency injection. Okay, in that setter, constructor, C schema, P schema. Okay, see, every time you copy and paste one command at a time. At a time I have designed group of commands. You copy and paste in every Spring XML file. Okay, I'll go here. I'll paste it here. Okay, I'll paste it here. Control V. Guys, now you prepare your XML file. Guys, in order to prepare your XML file, first beans tag is opened here. Beans tag is opened here. Now, if you want to create a, see, you are telling your container, you should tell your container to create an object of Pozo class, right? In the sense, you have to give a directions. Means for which class you want, for which class you want your object. Guys, bean, you should open bean tag. ID is equals to, guys, employee E1. I want to create object, for example, employee E1 is equals to new employee. Means you have to provide on what reference variable you want your object. For example, I will just give EMP. Okay, EMP. Employee EMP is equals to new employee. And then you have to give a fully qualified class name. Fully qualified class name, guys, means it should contain with package name also. Come to the employee class. This is your fully qualified class name. com.spring.example.spring.example.employee. Okay, that will become a fully qualified class name. If we just give a class name called employee, it will not create the object. Okay, just copy it, go to the XML file. Okay, paste it, dot employee. Okay, dot employee. Guys, you can see here. Beans tag is closed. Okay, now see, beans is closed, beans tag is closed. I'm not doing any dependency injection here. I'm just showing you how application context container and bean factory container will create a object. Will create a object of the Pozo class. Now XML file is ready. Okay, and your Pozo class is ready. You have updated your pom.xml file. Guys, finally you need something called driver class. Okay, because you have to create an object of either bean factory or application context container, right? See, whenever you create an object, to run that, you need a class. Okay, to run that, you need a class. That class is known as a driver class. Every time you create one driver class, inside the source-main- in the same package, go to the new, okay, go to the class, you create one driver class with main method. With main method. Okay. Guys, now you can see here, there is a test class prepared here. Now, I want to make use of application context. I want to make use of a bean factory container. Guys, if you want to make use of a bean factory container, first you should create a resource object, right? Okay, first you should create a resource object. What I will do is, I will just copy it and paste it. Okay, for now, you remove this. Guys, resource is which is present in some other package. You have to import it, right? Control Shift O. If you want to import, Control Shift O. Okay, 1 minute. Class path, XML resource. Yes. Still there is an error. Class path resource config.xml. There is an error, syntax error. Class path resource, it's correct, right? Why?
Import is wrong. In the previous file that you have imported something else.
No, it is right only. Resource R1 is equals to new class path resource. Shit. Yeah. Guys, you can see first, in order to use a bean factory container, first what you should do, you should prepare a resource object. Resource R1 is equals to new class path resource. Guys, class path resource is a class name. Resource is a interface name. That's why you can take a object reference of interface, no issues. Okay. You can also take class path resource R1 is equals to new class path resource if you want. Okay. Guys, what is the file name you have? Okay. What is the file? What is the XML name you have saved? Config.xml. This is your config.xml, right? So in this you have to load it. See, container needs two things. Container needs a poso class and container needs a XML file. So now after loading into this, then you have to create a bean factory container, object of bean factory container. Bean, okay. Bean factory, okay. Bean factory, for example, B is equals to bean factory B is equals to new class path XML bean factory, new class path XML bean new class path XML bean factory, and you have to pass that R1 here. New class path XML bean factory, and you're passing R1 control shift O.
There are two T's in factory.
Sorry. Class path XML bean factory. Still class path XML bean factory is right. Sorry, new XML bean factory. New XML bean factory. Okay, guys, now you have created this. Now guys, see, you have created resource object and you have passed that. Okay, you have loaded config.xml file and that object reference you are passing into a bean factory. Now if you want to call that method, Okay, see now you're making, okay, you're telling your bean factory to container to create an object of employee class, right? Now to create an object of employee class, okay, you have to use one method called getBean method. B1 dot getBean. Okay, B1 dot getBean method, and you have to pass. Okay, okay, guys, what is the in XML file? What is the object reference you have given? EMP. Okay, object reference you have given is EMP. So I will pass EMP. Guys, B1 dot getBean method. GetBean method will return. GetBean method will return. I'm sorry, not B1, B. GetBean method will return the object of employee. Okay, the return type is return type of this method is object of employee, right? You have to typecast it. Okay, there is something called typecasting. Okay, whenever a method is giving object of particular class, you have to typecast it and you have to receive it. Now, I have typecasted. Okay, I have given employee here while receiving also. So what it will give you a reference variable of object of type employee. I will store it in, okay, even. I will store it in even this time. See guys, how you create, how you give a value in getBean method. B dot getBean method, and whatever the object reference you have declared in the XML file, you have to give it. The return type of getBean method. getBean method will always return the object of, okay, object of particular class. Means object reference of particular class. So you have to typecast it and you have to take it. Okay. Now even dot, okay, using your new reference variable called even now, even dot, okay, I will call wish method. I will call wish method here. See guys, I will call wish method. Even dot, sorry, even dot wish method employee class. In the employee class, there is a wish method. There is something wrong here. You have to save the program. Okay. Okay, guys, I have saved the program. Even dot wish method is there. Right click on this. Now run the program. Test run as Java application. Okay. Run as Java application. You just click on OK. Guys, you can see I am getting the output. Good morning. I'm getting the output, right? Good morning. Guys, this is the way of, okay, this is the way of creating an object using a bean factory. Similarly, guys, I have one more thing called application context container. I have a ready-made program here. I don't take, okay. Okay, let's create another object here. Application context container. Guys, do you have any doubts here in the bean factory? Hope no doubts. Okay, then I will go to application context container. Guys, application context is equals to application context AP is equals to new class path XML application context. New class path application context. And I'll give here config.xml. Same config.xml. See here directly, okay, you can load your file into XML file. There is no need to create a resource. You load that and then that reference object, there is no need to pass in your container. Class path XML application context. Okay. Control Shift O, you can make it here. See guys, everything is same. Employee. Now what I will do is AP. Your reference variable is AP, right? AP dot getBean, same EMP. Okay, I have received it. Even dot wish method. Save the program and then okay, run it. Run as Java application. Okay, run as Java application. Guys, see, I'm getting good morning. This is the way of using your application context and bean factory container. Okay, application context as well as bean factory container. Guys, then how many objects it can create? Okay, you come back to the PPT. See guys, I've used using application context And these are the steps I have done till now. Create Maven project, create Pozo class and Bean class, XML, instantiate the container, load the container. Guys, everything, whatever I have done, I have, okay, here. In this PPT only, somewhere you will also find the default, okay, the dependencies which I have copied and pasted there, and even in Spring file also. Guys, till here we have discussed, right? Bean factory container we have used, application context container we have used. There is something called scopes. Okay, Bean scopes in your, okay, Spring, guys. Bean scopes in the sense how many times, how many objects your container will, okay, create. You can control that, okay, number of objects created by a container by declaring, okay, several types called singleton and prototypes. Guys, Bean scopes in a Spring, okay, container about how many instances of the object class to be created. Means Bean scopes will give you, okay, a idea that how many objects a container should create. See, if I declare my Bean scope as a singleton, only one object for every user request, only one object will be created. Even if you send multiple requests, okay, only one object will be created. If you declare a Bean scope as a prototype, for every user request, one separate object will be created. Guys, these HTTP request, HTTP session, HTTP global session will be used in the web applications. Okay, these singleton and single prototype will be used in the enterprise application. See here, for every HTTP request, okay, one bean will be created. For every HTTP session, whole session itself, one object will be created. And for one global session, one object will be created. Guys, if you don't declare, okay, singleton and prototype, if you don't declare singleton prototype, by default, the scope will be always singleton itself. The very important question for interview: what is the default bean scope? The default bean scope will be singleton. Okay, whether you declare it or not in the spring.xml file, the scope will be always, okay, a singleton itself. See here in the XML file here, in the XML file, I did not declare my bean scope as a, okay, singleton here. Even if we don't declare any scope here, default there will be a singleton. What is by singleton? Only one object will be created. Only one object will be created for every user request. Means even if you send 1,000 user requests, okay, only one object will be created. Every time it will be sending only the same memory address. Same memory address in the sense what? Only one object will be created. Let's check that how many, okay. See here, there is a, we have, okay, we will see how many objects it is created. Instead of calling wish method, we will see how many. Here bean scope is a default, right? Because I did not declare any singleton here. Means what? It will be by default, it is a, okay, singleton. Singleton in the sense for every user request, even for multiple user requests, only one object will be created. Let us print this. Okay, how many, okay, it is creating. System.out. Okay, println. Guys, you can see here, I will just print this even. I will just print this even. Okay, so one user request will be there because employee even is equals to, okay, ap.employee. One user request is here. Now what I will do, I will, okay, send some 3 user requests for object creation. Okay, 3 user requests in the sense 3 get bean methods. 3 get bean methods I will, okay, send. Means first time I will, okay, paste it in E2. I will receive it in E2. Third time I will receive it in E3. And then let us see if it is creating multiple objects in E1, E2 and E3, there should be a different address, right? But there will be a same address. Why? Because even if you have a multiple, even if you send a multiple requests, it will create only one object because the bean scope is default singleton is there. Okay, singleton is there. See, I will just try to print what is E2 and what is E3. Okay, now save the program. Save the program. Okay, let's execute this, run as Java application. Guys, you can see here the same address 731F8 731F8 Even if you have a 3 requests, user is sending 3. As a programmer, I'm sending 3 requests for object creation, but still it is creating only one object. Okay, why? Because the bean scope is by default singleton. Okay, see here, the bean scope is by default singleton in a XML file. You can also, even if you give a scope is equals to singleton here, same will be there. Even if you don't give, default will be singleton. Okay, See here, singleton. I will give singleton. I will save it. Even if you give like this, okay, it will be only one object will be created for multiple user request. See, I'm getting same. Means whether you declare singleton or you don't declare, by default it will okay, by default the bean scope is a singleton. Guys, now for every user request I need a separate object. Okay, for every user request I need a separate object. Means what? 3 user requests will be there, 3 separate objects to be created. In that case, you can keep okay a bean scope as a prototype. You can keep your bean scope as a prototype. Okay, you can save it. Okay, you can go to the test class or run the test class, run as Java application. Guys, you can see here 3 objects are created for every user request. For every one user request is every time you call getBean method, one separate object will be created. These are the bean scopes. Normally we use okay singleton and prototype, guys. Whenever in the normal, rarely in the web applications we'll use that HTTP session and HTTP okay request. Guys, any doubts in the bean scopes? I have written the program here. Okay, you can practice it. I will send this full XML file that okay default configurations and everything. From next class, guys, we will discuss about dependency injection. Guys, if there are no doubts, then I'll end my session here today. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have notes on lambdas and concurrency?
No, I don't have notes for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you.